Hi there, in this video you're going to learn all about basic to advanced filtering options in Microsoft Excel so you can filter like a pro. Without further ado, let's get started. To get started, you need to understand how to enable the filter option in Microsoft Excel, and one of the easiest ways to do that is to select any cell within your data grid and use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+Shift+L. When you press the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+Shift+L, Excel enables the filter button on each column headers within your data grid. I can also press Ctrl+Shift+L to disable them. Another method is to go to the Home tab. Under Editing, you see Sort and Filter. There you can select the filter button here, which enables the filter button. One more time, you can just press Ctrl+Shift+L to disable them. One last option is to go to the Data tab. Under Sort and Filter, you can click the filter option here. It also enables the filter buttons on each column headers within your data range. So one basic method to filter your data is to filter using the right click option of your mouse based on selected cell value. So to do that, let's say I want to filter based on dishes, and I would love to see dishes that are only meat. I could just select a cell containing meat. I'll right click my mouse and come to this filter option here, and I'll select filter by selected cell value. When I click that, it basically filters my data based on that selected cell. I could just Ctrl+Z to undo that. So another basic way to filter your data is to use the search option within the filter button on your column headers. Let's come back to this dishes column. Let's say I want to filter based on dishes that contain the word food. I could come to the search bar here and type food. When I type food, you see it started giving me option that staple food or street food. I can make that much more easier for me using the wildcard option. What I will do is I will come to the beginning of the word food and just put the asterisk sign, and I'll come to the end of food and put the asterisk sign. And what this basically does is that it searches for any character that contains the word food in the middle. So at the beginning, the asterisk means any number of characters to the right, and at the end it means any number of characters to the left. And if you look at the result, it is showing me, because I have staple food, I have street food and snacks. So when I click OK, it basically filters the data based on any dishes that contain the word food in the middle. So I can just go to the Home tab, under Sort and Filter, and clear the filter to have my data set back. Another easy method to filter your data is to filter by color. To show an example, I could come to the Order History column and create a conditional column. I'll just Ctrl+Shift+Arrow down, select my row data range. I'll go back up, come to Conditional Formatting, Cell Rows. Let's say I want to highlight Order History greater than 60 and give them a green fill. Click on OK. I'll come back one more time. Let's say less than 30, Order History less than 30. We give them a red fill. Then one more time, Order History between 60 and 30. Let's give those Order History a yellow fill. Once I have this created, I could go to that column header, to the filter button, and say sort or filter by color. I could say, okay, let's filter by green color, then it filters my data for me. I could also go back and change the filtering options to yellow. You see it filters based on that cell color. I could also filter by the last one, which is this red, and it filters. So that's one of the easiest ways to also filter your data sets. So I could just clear my filter from then, go to my conditional formatting and clear rows from entire sheet, and I have my data set back. Another filtering option you like to explore, especially when you have a date column within your data range, is the date filters. Excel automatically detects when you have a date column in your data set and enables the date filter options. When I click on this date column and select date filters, I have a whole bunch of options to filter my data set by date. So I could go for this month option. Let's filter data to show records for this month, and you see it automatically filters it to that month. I could go back also to the dates options and filter by, let's say, last month. It filters my data. You can also do between two dates, which is highly flexible. Also do between two dates, which brings out this custom auto filter dialog option. You can use this calendar option here to select within any two dates of your choice. I could go back a little bit and just say, okay, let's select this date and between another date, or you can also do the all options if you wish, which I prefer. Also, just say, okay, let's say between these two dates, and I click on OK. As Excel filter my data, so I will just clear filters from dates. So aside the date filters, Excel also detects when your column is a text data type column. So if I go to the dishes column, when I click the filter button, I have these text filtering options. I can filter based on cells that begin with or equals to, ends with, contains. Let's do cells that contain a certain option. I just say cells that contain food. When I click on OK, and it filters based on that for me. I can also do text filter, maybe cells that contain maybe staple. I just do cells that contain staple, or you can also do or contains. You just have to select that also. Let's go down. Or contains salad. So it's not even case sensitive, and when I click on OK, then you see. So you can also do text filtering in Excel. So I'll just clear filters. So finally, on basic filtering, you need to also understand that you can filter your data set and also gain insights from it while filtering. So let's assume we need to get the total price generated for last month. If I go to the dates column and select the dates filter button, I can filter by date to show record for last month. And I have that. I could go back to the price column, select the data range, and we could see we generated 1209 in total price. So to double check that, I can just use the sum formula under it and select this price data range, close the parentheses and hit enter. Boom, generated 1209 in total revenue for price. But the downside of this is that if I go back to my date option and I try to change my filtering criteria to, let's say, next month, you see my total cell there gets hidden, or it still says that last month. It doesn't even auto update. So one of the easiest ways to get over this is to turn the whole data set to a table. With a table, it's dynamic and it auto updates. So to do that, I'll just delete this. I'll clear my date filter option here. So I'll select my anywhere between my data range, go to the insert tab and just insert, auto detect that this is my data range and my table as headers. If I click on OK, then I could select any table design I like. I'll just go back to the normal one like this. Cool. So when you generated a table out of a data set, you have the option to enable total row. It auto add a total row for me within my within the last data range. If I go back up to the beginning of my data set and I try to filter the data set based on that date option. Also, one more time, if I filter to last month, you can see my total column auto update. If I change it to another month, let's go again. Let's change it to this month. You can see the total column auto update. You can also test it one more time to maybe next month. You can see. So that's the advantage of turning the whole data range into a table. You also have option to generate new calculation. You can also do maybe counts of the total orders. You can also do let's look at this number of orders there. You can also do, so you can just generate any type of calculation you want easily when you turn your whole data range into a table in Excel. So to get rid of the table, and leave my data set to how it was before, I could just say convert to a data to range. It says okay, and we are back to how the data was before we actually converted it to a table. So that's all about basic filtering. So let's move to advanced filtering. So now let's talk about advanced filtering. Most often than not, when you filter a data in basic filtering, you will know the criteria of your filtering except you over the column headers. Take for example, if you come here and filter our data to only show order, number of orders for 45, 44, 43, 42, 41, and 40. When I click on OK, I won't know the basic or the criteria behind my filtering option here, the result that is being generated until I over the column here. You can see, so number of orders equals to 40, 41, 43, 44, and 45. But with advanced filtering, you have the option to what? To specify a criteria in another cell and reference those criteria to filter your data. Let me show you how to do that. I'll just clear the filters from here. So to enable advanced filtering, you go to the data tab and you click on advanced filter. So the advanced filter has 3 options. So the first option in advanced filtering is the filter the list in place. If I'm trying to filter this range of data sets, I can filter to this list, to this same sheet, to this selected area, or I can also filter to another location. That means my filtering results will be copied to another location. I'll show you how to do that in a bit. We also have the list of range. So the list range is the data sets I want to filter, which will be selected automatically when you click the advanced filter option. Now the criteria is where it gets a little bit more interesting. You can also select where you want to copy to. If you are trying to copy to another location, you can also remove duplicate and return unique records only, especially when you have duplicate records in your data set. More on this later. So to start with advanced filtering, let's say you want to show only record for number of orders greater than 40. So to start with advanced filtering, you need to have your criteria in another cell. So since you want to do number of orders greater than 40, you have to make sure this column header here is also rightly spelled in the cell I'll be specifying my criteria. So I have to make sure that they are both correctly spelled in the same manner as my data range. I could just say greater than 40 there. So when I go to advanced filter option on the data tab, click on advanced filter, my data range will be selected. From there is the list of my range. It's automatically selected. My criteria range, I have to select this and now select both the headers and the criteria specified. When I click on OK, I can also have the option to copy to another sheet. I'll talk about that one later. Now if you click on OK, see what happens. You can see my number of orders, my data gets filtered to what? Number of orders greater than 40. You can see from 43 and above. Sorry, from 40 and above. So with advanced filtering, you can also specify more than one criteria in your in your criteria cell. You can also just come back here. Also, number of rating should be should be 5. So I have 2 criteria now. I want to filter this data range to show number of orders greater than 40 and ratings equals to equals to 5. To do that also, I'll go back to advanced filtering option here. My list range is selected. Now to my criteria range, I have to make sure I select both cells like this. I click on OK, then OK. You can see number of orders greater than 40 and only showing results for ratings that are 5. That was also, you can also specify more than one criteria with advanced filtering. So with advanced filtering, you can also do negative criteria. I can Ctrl Z to grab my data set back. I can do number of orders greater than 40 or 5-star, or to show ratings not equal to 5-star. I can just use this option here, greater than and less than 5, that is not equal to 5-star rating. You can click on enter. If I go back to advanced filtering option, all I have to do is just update my criteria range to this and click on OK, and you can see it removes all ratings that are not that are not equal to 5, just from 4 points or 4.9. that we can also do negative criteria with advanced. So advanced filtering also gives you the flexibility to play with and or options. We can get a little bit tricky here and say we want to see only data sets for number of orders greater than 40. You can just copy this, and number of orders greater than 40, and let's say dishes. I'll click on come here and paste it here. I'm copying and pasting just to make sure that what the column headers are all the same when it is time to filter them. Because it's okay. Let's say number of orders greater than 40 and dishes starting with S. You can just say this is starting with S, and have any number of words after S. You can also so maybe dishes equals to what? Equal to meat. Can get a little bit trickier there. So what this is saying is that filter your data set to number of orders greater than 40 and dishes starting with what? With S and any number of characters after S, or number of orders greater than 40 and meat and dishes equals to meat. So you can get a little bit trickier with with advanced filtering based on number of criteria you specify in the other cell. So let's give it a shot. If I go back to advanced filter here, I have my list range selected, then my criteria. I'll select it multiple times like this, then click on OK. You can see how it filter my data. So you can see number of orders greater than 40, dishes starting with either salad, and they are also equal to meat. So with advanced filtering, you can play with it a whole lot of based on how you want to filter your data set. I can just Ctrl Z to have my data set back to our. Now let's discuss the unique record only option in the advanced filter dialog box. So to use the unique record only option, I have to select this, copy to another location. Then my criteria range, let's assume we want to get the number of unique record in this dishes column. All I have to do is just change that criteria range to only this dishes column. Do that, or click on my criteria. I don't want any criteria. I can just say copy to unique record, and I just say okay, copy to this cell here. Since I'm not using any criteria in this cell, just a copy here, and I click on OK. You can see that it's copied it's filtered the data set along with the column just to return unique record only in this our dishes column. So that's how to use that unique record option in the advanced filter. One of the coolest ways to also use the advanced filter option is to copy a result to your result rather to another sheet entirely. Let's say we want to filter our data set and have our results on this new sheet. So to do that, I have to go to advanced filter. I'm going to do it in the wrong way first, and I'm going to show you the correct way to do that. If I try to do it this wrong way, I select advanced filter and I change my list range to this. Ctrl Shift arrow right, then arrow down. I'll go back up to the beginning of my data set, and if I say copy to another location, then my criteria range, this same criteria here, let's use that. Then I say copy to, now let's change it to this sheet here. If I select this using this method here, and I click on OK, see what it say. You can only copy to filter data to the active sheet. So to have a way around that, we need to start from from that new sheet that we want to copy to. So let's do it the right way. But to do that, I have to make sure that my criteria is also on that sheet. I'll just copy it from here, Ctrl C, and paste it somewhere here, Ctrl V. So I have our criteria here that I want to use to filter the data sets, and let's do it the right way. If I come back here, so I have to be in this active sheet that I want to copy to. I'll go to advanced filtering. So my list range, I'll go back to where my data set is, Ctrl Shift arrow right, arrow down, select the whole data range. Do that. So criteria range is in this sheet here, so I'll select this range here, then copy to, since I want to copy it, I'll select this copy to another location option. Now select copy to here. When I do that and press OK, and boom, you see we have our data set based on this criteria here. So based on this criteria in this cell, copied, filtered all the way from this large data set to this one, to this new sheet. So that's the best way to also use advanced filtering in Excel, to copy to another location without hassle. So finally, one last advanced filtering technique I'm going to show you is, what if we want specific column from this whole data range, and even column we didn't mention in our criteria range. Let's assume we want date column, customer ID column, gender column, rating, and we didn't mention those columns in our criteria range, so we can achieve that. So in this situation, we like to return data based on this date, customer, rating, gender, ID column, but we didn't specify any of these columns in our criteria. So to do that, just select a cell, go to advanced filtering, your list of range, select copy to another location. Your list range has to be this restaurant data here, our old data set. Control Shift arrow right, arrow down, select the old data range. I can scroll back up. Then my criteria is the criteria that we specified here. Then here is where it gets a little bit trickier. The copy to location, you have to select the cell that you specified in your that you want to copy. You want to filter your data based on based on the cell, the column rather, that you want returned, based on based on the criteria range you specified. Then I come back here and click on OK, and boom, imagine, so you can see the data set correlates with what we have here. You can see female, even though we didn't specify these columns, this criteria, this column here in our criteria. So you can also use advanced filter in that manner to filter your data set dynamically to another sheet entirely. So if you found this video useful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, comment, and let me know if you ever use any of this advanced filtering option or basic filtering option before in Microsoft Excel in the comment section. Bye for now, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching.